It also helps us to hold students' attention and closely monitor students' behavior. Nah? So next we have how do teachers use the blackboard. Nah? So what are the criteria or how do we use the blackboard? Now, what are the ways? Number one, keep a record of the lesson. Nah? So keep a record of the lessons, that is problems, questions, students' voices, opinions, things noticed, student solutions, students' discussions, important mathematical ideas. Now, so we make use of the board for recording, for recording about a particular lesson, for writing up the topic. Board can be also used for solving problems or solving. So, what are the ways or how can we use the board in our classroom now? So we have first and foremost thing is that we use board to keep a record of the lesson. So for recording a lesson, we make use of our blackboard in the classroom. Besides this, we also use it for solving problems or questions or like for arising students' voices or opinions, or also like for student solutions, student discussions, important mathematical ideas. Now, so we mostly make use of this board for recording of a lesson plan. Next is it helps the students remember what they need to do and think. So it also helps the students to remember what they need to do and think. Now it helps students to analyze their problems, directing them in achieving the goals or like to do particular tasks or questions. Board also help to acknowledge students' comments, summarize and connect contributions by understanding or drawing arrows between the words or phrases. So it helps the students to analyze the questions that are in their minds. Next, we have it also helps students see the connections of different parts of the lessons and progressions of the students. So making use of the board also helps the students to see the connections of different parts of the lessons and the progressions of the lessons. The summary of the entire lessons, coherent flow of the lessons, how we reach the conclusions, and how students' ideas were discussed and evolved in order to reach the conclusion. Next, we have, it is also a place to contrast and discuss ideas students presented. So our classroom blackboard, it also object as a place to contrast and discuss ideas of the students. Recording various ideas, we make use of the board to record various ideas, to discuss similarities and differences in ideas, discussing merits of certain methods, discovering or developing new ideas and questions. So in short, effective teachers ensure like they also demonstrate a deep understanding of the curriculum. So we have to make use of all these things. Next, a place to help organize students' thinking and discover new ideas. So board can be used as a place to help or organize students' thinking and discover new ideas. Like manipulating or sorting, lining up, categorizing, moving directions, etc. objects on the boards and thinking about or discovering mathematical ideas. So it is a place to help organize students' thinking. It helps the students to think rationally, and it helps the students to discover new ideas. Next, planning organizations of the blackboard. So in a classroom, being a teacher, as a teacher, like how should we analyze or how should we organize our blackboard? Like what are the things we need to write on the board? Let us study. Logical and coherent organizations, easy to understand the connections, clear goals and tasks, incorporate students' ideas and strategies to build understanding. Like it should be in brief. It should be in a logical way, like so that it will be easier for the students to understand the connections. It will, like, we have to make use of the board to clear the goals and tasks of the students. Besides this, making use of the board, it helps the students, it helps students' ideas and strategies to build understanding. Let's see, how should we make an effective chalkboard? For us in our school, like we use marker, right? So let's see what are the things, like how to make an effective board. A chalkboard should reflect day and date. So our board, our classroom board should be should contain date and day. We have to first write the date on the board, and then the topic of the particular subject, the topic of the particular lesson. These are the things we need to write it on the board before we start the class. And subtopic, if any, if there's any subtopic, we need to write it on the board. And space for homework, which means we have to give space for a homework, like in a particular portion. Relevant contain, we need to make use of this board for writing contents of the particular subject. And then it can also be used for diagram, like for mathematical, any kind of diagrams. Optimum use of space, organized works, use of colored chalks. Chalks is not necessary in our school since we use marker. So by using different kinds of colored marker, it will attract students much better, and it will make our classroom much presentable. So in order to make our board look, our classroom board look front, we have to make use of all these tools.
बच्चा रखना है तो गाड़ी यहाँ तक ले आओ, घुसा दो भीतर, समय वो चोर नहीं है, बेईमान नहीं है। अभी अपना सामान ले जाएगा, वाटन खड़ा रहेगा तो चोर बेईमान।
Teachers are not supposed to have favorites in a class, but most especially are not supposed to show dislikes for a child or any child. So being a teacher, like we should not have a distinction between the students. We should not have differentiate the students. We should not have we are not supposed to have favorites in a classroom. Okay. Nevertheless, every year there are one or two children that one cannot help but be attached to. For teachers are humans, and it is human's nature to like bright, pretty, intelligent people, whether they are 10 years old or 25, and sometimes not too often. Fortunately, there will be one or two students to whom the teachers just can't seem to relate. It is, being a teacher, it is very important. Like we should not distinguish between the good students and the bad students. We must motivate even the weaker students to achieve their dreams. we don't have to like we're not supposed to have favorite in a class. Now we have to treat them equally, whether they are good looking or whether they are good in studies or whether they are weak in studies. Next, we hope that you as the teachers of tomorrow make a difference to somebody's life. Huh? So being a teacher, like we should plan and access to promote mastery for all students. We need to have acquired knowledge to impart to the students, to provide high quality instructions in order to increase students' achievements for all students. And not only this, we also need to impact students' academic and behavioral well-being. Now we have to look forward in developing their overall well-being. Not only this, being a teacher, we need to promote mindset over fixed mindset. We need to promote growth mindset over fixed mindset. Next, we also need to have high expectations and clear goals for motivating the students as a teacher. And lastly, we need to be an inspirational to the teachers. We have to reflect. Our reflection should be in a such way that the students will get inspired by our ways, by our behavior. If we lack that particular character, like in certain situation, we won't have the right to teach the students. Like we won't have that zeal to teach the students. Now when it comes, so we need to be we have to be, what to say, like we need to inspire the students in such a way that they achieve their goal. So that's it. Now I'm handing over this to Arti sir. Thank you so much.
रखो कि पढ़ना है तो यही करो अपना घर में सब केना निकाल के आए चीज निकाल के ऊपर बेटा रेलवे निकाल के उन्हें अभी भी निकाल
यूजर आईडी जो भेजे थे सर, मोबाइल
आपका
नंबर
मोबाइल नंबर नहीं होगा
क्या
7992
जैसे पिन केटा नंबर